Hey, welcome back to Walden's World. This is Aiden's RFZ. So we're gonna pull it apart right quick. Supposedly it's got no compression. First thing we need to do, of course, pull off the muffler bolts. We got that loose. We turned off our gas. If they had electricity on this, which I don't think this one's got a battery, we turn that off. So best thing to do now is get the timing chain. Take our bolt out. Put that in the box. Okay. So we've got a retainer here. It's a 10. We need to get that off too. That's a 10. And then we got 4 10s here. We'll leave our intake on. Get that retainer bolt out. This is my tensioner flywheel deal. It's got a washer on there, so don't lose that. And this is your retainer for your cylinder. Okay, GoPro, stop recording. Okay, so on all these pit bikes, this washer right here is supposed to be a little brass washer, and that's because you got your oil comes up through here. So this gets hot and it expands and contracts. All right, so we got the head off. Went ahead and made sure the cam was loose. And as you notice on here, see if I can get it where the light is. I got fluid coming out of my intake and out of my exhaust. So neither of my valves are seated. Pretty good gap in the ring. I've got a couple of kits I bought here. They got some brand new pistons, so I'll see if one of those fits. If not, we'll find one and order it up. Alright, so on my deal, it looks like I'm at like 54. So I'll measure these other pistons and see how those are. Oh, my washer come out. Actually kind of just compare these pistons to one another, I guess. That one don't look like the one. That one's well, let's see what this one is here. That might be a winner. 54 inches. Now, do we have the rings that go to it? Looks similar. Even had the same stamp. Where's the ring set? Here's a set of rings. So hopefully this is it. We're about to find out. My dogs are wanting to chew somebody up, and this cat just climbed up my back. Alright, so this is the one here. We're going to build it. I'm going to go wash all this off. My hands are pretty dirty. And we'll come back and get this built. This dude up here just climbing up on my back and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Tripping, cat. Cat, you tripping. You can't just be climbing up on people's backs. That ain't right. That ain't right, cat. You's tripping, man. Who you think you are? You can't just do that to people. I have feelings. Are you listening to me? Alright, man, it's cold in my garage. We're gonna have to check these valves out. So we need to get the valve cover. I mean the cam out. Pop this loose. There's a gasket in there. You can put these bolts back in there if you want to. And we've got some guides in there. Sometimes they're threaded, which I think these are. Alright, if all else fails, find a bolt that fits. Now a lot of these times you can just pull these in. They're usually pretty loose and they'll come right out. Tappets fall out, cams out, looks good. Keep all that on nice clean paper towels. Your rockers are probably the same, hopefully, because they just fell out. Alright, we're going to, I don't have my valve puller, so we're going to do it the old redneck way. We're going to fill this whole cavity up with a paper towel. Push that down. I don't want any, I want my valves to stay there. And then I'm going to take a socket that I know will go over that and a rubber mallet, and I'm going to tap that, and it's all going to fall apart. It's going to be really cool. It's a little bit harder putting it back together, and I need to find a rubber mallet. Alright, so now if you beat the heck out of this, you can bend the valve, so don't be too crazy about it. Just a little tap. We usually do it. That one's loose. And we'll put our stuff on paper towels. Pull our valve out. We've got some carbon seating. We'll have to check, see if that thing's straight, because both of them were leaking. Let's do the other one. Make sure you don't want your valve coming out of the head, so get a lot of pressure on there. Well, one's out. There we go, both out. That's a double spring, so doubt very much I'll be able to put that back in without my valve tool. And that one's got some good carbon buildup right there. So hopefully we'll be able to grind these down and get them to work. Alright, so when I do these valves, I get an old piece of fuel line, and I'm going to get my drill here. Put my fuel line in here. This is just the old redneck way. I'm sure somebody's got a couple of complaints, and people 7 or 80, you probably got some great machine to do it, but this is how I do it, and it's going to work. We want to get a little bit of oil and oil our valve, and that should be, which one's which now? That's the intake. The exhaust is smaller. Okay, we're going to get a little oil and put on here. Alright. Get a good amount of oil on my valve stem here. So I'll pull a little back pressure on this. This thing will actually flap, and that'll create tension from centrifugal force. Now, hopefully we got a good seat on that, and you know, the valve may have been bent to begin with, so we'll have to verify that too. But let's check that out. We'll do this exhaust, and then we'll have to go back and clean it all up and check her out. Alright, so we've got a nice good shiny lip on there. Valve looks good. I think this will seal as long as it's not bent. We're going to go ahead and do the other one now. See what she looks like. Get our dirty rag, because it doesn't really matter at this point in time. Looks like we got a nice clean lip on there. What's that there? That's just goopity goop. What's up? Son's here. Trying to learn auto mechanics today, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Is that why you came over?
Yeah. Came over because the guy was wondering if
You got a nice lip on there. Alright, we're good. Alright, so I'm just going to get my valves in there. Going to lube that down. We do got a little bit of wear there. You could mic all this, but this is supposed to be a pretty new bike. So, got it all cleaned up. Got all the valve grinding compound off. And we'll go get my valve spring compressor. I've got a few here, but I got a real nice one made by Fly. And get this put back together. Alright, so I got all my rings on my piston, and I'm going to put the pin on this side of the bike in, because all the muffler on that is on this side. Get a little oil on my wrist pin here, and slide it in, just barely. Alright, let's see if we can get this in here. Sometimes you can use the back of your skirt on your piston to use it to pop up, and that way you can line up your pin a lot easier. It'll pop right in. We'll get this other clip in here. This gasket actually looks really good, and I don't have a new one here, so we will make sure and get all the oil off of it, and we'll reinstall this one. Now we can use some Permatex on there, but all the orange looks really good, so we're not going to put anything on it. We'll just make sure that we torque it down correctly and make sure there's no oil residue on it. Alright, so she had a little bit of a glaze on her. I just went ahead and hit it real quick with that, and got the crosshairs back. Let's see if you can. Looks pretty good. I think the rings will seat up real good. I had a nice ledge on the bottom there, and I didn't want to put new rings on there just in case. There wasn't anything to grab your fingernail, but it just kind of bothered me. But anyway, that looks pretty good. Couple of y'all chime in and complain how it ain't like 55-degree angles or whatever, but she'll seat up and she'll be good. Alright, so we've got our valves in, and we'll go ahead and start putting our springs back in. Make sure you wash these all off with some kind of something, you know what I'm saying? You want to make sure your bottom piece is in the middle of your valve. Teasing shot of those dropping right over that valve perfectly. Now sometimes you can move your tool to manipulate your keepers. That's in. Make sure you've got a seat down in there too with a washer type deal, so make sure those are in there. Alright, I think we got it after 16 hours. Alright, so good to spray everything off with carb cleaner. Then we're just going to go back and put a little bit of oil on stuff, and we'll drop our little bit of oil there, and we're going to put a little bit on the inside here. You can put some on there and on there if you want to. Now these do have threads on one side, not the other. Put your threads out. Alright, so one more shot of this, because you may have a little oil down in these canals. So just make sure we don't have any. I've got a little rubber O-ring that goes on my block down there. Almost forgot it. Makes sense because it slides right in like a glove. Alright, now I'm going to compress these rings. So if I've got my gap up here, I'm going to turn my cylinder this way, and that way I can get my ring gap in first. And as I do that, I can press it with my finger, and I'll pivot the cylinder, and I can slide it right in that way. So you can see I kind of got my piston just sitting in there right now. I'm going to have to go to the other side here. Let's see if we can show you. Okay. So now onto my next ring. I'm actually going to tip my piston. I'm going to tip the skirt up a little bit. And now that's started on my compression ring. And I'm just going to do that. And then my oil rings, they usually don't cause much problems. And these, a lot of times I'll just take a poker and it'll hold it like that, depending on how crooked your bike is. Make sure your rubber O-ring's still in there. All right, we're on. Top dead center. Okay, so now we got to make sure we've got a couple of dowel pins that go in these. I'm not sure if they fell off. And then we're going to have that little clean spot on our paper towel. And we'll just go around this area. All right, so the one with the oil passage, you've got that little deal with the lip. And we'll just put that down over that like that. Is that where it really goes? No. Goes right there. Alright, let's get that. That's not the right one. Let's get the 10mm retainer bolt chain guide on there, wheel. So we've got a bolt here, deal here. Best way to do it, and this is after you of course cleaned it off. I guess I'll go ahead and get my gasket on there. No big whoop. And you can literally just hold the chain like this, and I'm just going to slide that down there to where I know it's about right. Get my finger caught. And then I can look down the deal and adjust if need be. And she's in. Alright, get this head started. First thing I want to do is start dealing with my timing chain. Get it pulled through. If you cleaned it off real good, you should be okay as far as not having a bunch of oil on it. If you did. Now remember, our bolts came through here, so if your pin slid over like mine just did, it won't mount up. We'll put on our 10mm retainer bolt here that's probably not long enough. Oh, this one seems to be a bit longer. And I really like to use this to get my head all pressed on because it's going to do a lot better even job. Brass washer goes there. Silver ones go to the other spots. Alright, do the old crisscross pattern on these. I'm not sure what the torque is on these, probably 17 pounds or 20, 24. Good and plenty. You can check out your torque specs on this. I'm sure it's probably 20 something pounds. Usually at 10mm, not over 20 pounds. Your 8mm are usually about 7 to 10 pounds of pressure. But I like to go around this a few times because as you tighten one, it loosens the others. And we don't want any problems. Alright, that'll be good. We're going to try and reuse this. I don't know if I got an exhaust gasket or not. Or if that's even still part of one. Is there one up in the head? There might be one still up in the head. I'll check and see if I've got one. Alright, see if we can check this timing. It's got a weird Allen bolt here. And if you got one of those, don't forget to put that back on or you won't have any spark. Alright, so we've got a little notch right here. And our T for top dead centers, actually, we're right on. And actually, I probably should have done the other one. But you can spin this around and it's going to end up popping on for you. Sometimes you can get lucky with a screwdriver. I think it's just going to pop right down on for me. Okay. And then you see we're lined up there on our grooves. Go ahead and get our other 9mm in there. Alright, So you can see that little notch right there on the top of the case, and then the top dead center. And then we've got both of those lined up as well. We'll get those tightened up and get the cover back on. Get our cap on. All right, boys, we got this thing back together. Throttle cable wasn't right. I don't think this one's the real one in there. So I took the nut off of there, put the cable back in. I had enough because that sucker was on full bore, baby. This thing has got 1 kill switch, 2 kill switch, whatever. Y'all like, subscribe, hit the notification button. We are out of here. RFZ in the books. Y'all have a good day.